Or a bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich looks like a small, ordinary American breakfast. But behind that familiar combination is a much larger question. Did bacon become a breakfast staple through a documented industrial and marketing machine, or are we mistaking familiarity for history? The available evidence confirms the sandwich, the settings where it appears, and bacon's place among its fillings. It does not document the rise that the title seems to promise. That contradiction is the starting point. Bacon is recognizable inside the breakfast sandwich category. The category reaches fast food restaurants, delicatessens, supermarkets, and homes, a broad scale of circulation across food service, retail, and domestic preparation. Yet the supplied record gives us no date for bacon's breakthrough, no company credited with creating it, and no measurement showing when it became dominant. The visible food is real. The history behind its prominence remains incomplete. Begin with the part that can be established directly. A breakfast sandwich is a sandwich filled with foods associated with breakfast. The documented examples include the bacon sandwich, the egg sandwich, the sausage sandwich, and combinations such as bacon, egg, and cheese. This is more than a definition. It tells us how bacon is positioned as one recognized breakfast filling, sometimes combined with other familiar foods. The same source places breakfast sandwiches in several everyday settings. They are served at fast food restaurants and delicatessens, sold in supermarkets, and commonly made at home. So the format is not limited to one seller or one kind of kitchen. It can be prepared commercially, purchased through retail, or assembled domestically. That breadth is the clearest documented evidence for the scale of the breakfast sandwich system and for bacon's place within it. But context is not origin. The record does not say that bacon began as an American breakfast food. It provides no chronology showing what came before the sandwich or what changed afterward. There is no production figure, sales total, menu survey, household survey, or named promotional campaign in the supplied evidence. There is also no comparison establishing that bacon was more popular than egg or sausage. That absence matters because a staple is not merely a food that appears in a familiar combination. To establish a historical rise, we would need a sequence, an earlier pattern, a turning point, a mechanism that spread the product, and evidence of adoption. We would also need to identify the incentive. Did sellers gain something by promoting bacon? Did manufacturers seek another outlet for it? Did consumers favor its convenience or its pairing with other fillings? Those are relevant questions, but this record does not answer them. The first possible mechanism to examine is distribution. Bacon appears within a food format that crosses several channels. A customer may encounter a breakfast sandwich at a fast food restaurant or delicatessen. A similar product may be sold in a supermarket. Another may be prepared at home. In each setting, bacon can be used alone or with egg and cheese. This gives the food multiple possible routes through commercial service, retail sale, and domestic preparation. That network helps explain how a recognizable format can remain visible in everyday life. But it does not prove how the format spread, which channel led, or whether bacon caused the spread. The source does not identify a first restaurant product, a first supermarket version, or a first household practice. It confirms multiple points of access, not the order in which those points became important. This is where the apparent story changes. Presence across restaurants, delicatessens, supermarkets, and homes demonstrates breadth. Bacon's appearance beside egg, sausage, and other breakfast fillings demonstrates recognition. But neither observation establishes national dominance. The documented category is carefully broader than bacon. It includes several kinds of sandwiches and several possible combinations. That classification weakens the simplest version of the bacon story. If the evidence described bacon as the defining filling, it would support a stronger claim about its centrality. Instead, it places bacon within a family of breakfast foods. The important distinction is between association and supremacy. Bacon is associated with the category. The supplied evidence does not show that it outranked the alternatives, created the category, or supplied the main commercial incentive behind the category's circulation. A complete food system explanation would have to connect several layers. First comes production, how bacon was made and supplied. Next comes distribution, how it moved toward restaurants, stores, delicatessens, and households. Then comes presentation, how sellers paired it with breakfast, packaged it, displayed it, or described it. Finally comes adoption, evidence that people changed what they purchased or ate. Incentives would connect those layers. Producers, retailers, restaurants, and households do not necessarily adopt a format for the same reason. A documented history would need evidence showing which participants promoted bacon, what advantage they expected, and whether their actions changed demand. None of that is established here. The source confirms the visible connection between bacon and the breakfast sandwich, but it does not reveal an upstream supply chain, an industrial bottleneck, a promotional strategy, or a measured consumer response. That uncertainty creates a real trade-off in telling the story. A clean origin tale is easier to remember. One product, one campaign, one turning point, and one national result. But the cleaner that tale becomes, the greater the risk of confusing a present-day combination with its cause. Bacon, egg, and cheese look as though they naturally belong together. Their familiarity can make the history seem inevitable. The evidence does not justify that shortcut. A combination visible today does not reveal who assembled it first, why it spread, or whether the same force shaped restaurants, supermarkets, delicatessens, and home kitchens. The scale of circulation may be broad, while the cause remains unknown. Choosing a dramatic but unsupported explanation would make the narration more satisfying while making the history less reliable. The trade-off is between narrative certainty and evidentiary accuracy. There is also an important counterpoint. The documented pattern is not meaningless. A breakfast sandwich found in commercial settings, retail settings, and home preparation has a broad practical life. Bacon's inclusion among standard examples shows that it is recognizably connected with breakfast sandwiches. The bacon, egg, and cheese combination is specifically identified as one version of the format. Those observations support a modest interpretation. Bacon occupies an established place in a breakfast category that moves through several kinds of outlets and kitchens. They do not support a stronger interpretation about its original source or historical ranking. The source does not specify the geography of every setting, so it cannot independently prove a uniquely American pattern. It provides no timeline, so it cannot establish when the association formed. And it does not compare fillings, so it cannot establish which one mattered most. The outcome we can describe is therefore narrower than the title's implied backstory. Within the supplied evidence, a breakfast sandwich is a flexible format. It can contain bacon, egg, sausage, or combinations such as bacon, egg, and cheese. It can be encountered at fast food restaurants and delicatessens, purchased in supermarkets, or made at home. Bacon is therefore documented as a familiar component of a format with multiple routes to the eater. What remains undocumented is the transition from presence to staple status. There is no supported date for a breakthrough, no verified industrial turning point, no identified marketing architect, no documented commercial incentive, and no measured evidence of a national shift. Even the specifically American scope of the title is not established by the source excerpt alone. The record shows a food format and bacon's place within it, not the full history of the American breakfast table. So how did bacon become an American breakfast staple? At the supported level of certainty, the answer remains unresolved. The evidence proves that bacon is a recognized breakfast sandwich filling, that it can be paired with egg and cheese, and that the broader format circulates through restaurants, delicatessens, supermarkets, and homes. That is meaningful scale, but it is scale of availability, not proof of historical dominance. The evidence does not prove a single origin, a marketing-led transformation, a national ranking, or a causal path from production to adoption. The hidden machine is therefore not something this record allows us to expose. What it reveals instead is the boundary between a food's visible circulation and its documented past. Bacon's place inside the breakfast sandwich is established. The incentives and forces that made that place widespread, if there was one dominant force at all, remain to be demonstrated through dated records, market evidence, production history, and documented promotion. Until those links exist, the honest conclusion ends with the familiar sandwich, not with an invented turning point. Visual reconstructions are illustrative. Facts and interpretations are based on the sources listed in the description.